your Super Doppler 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Edmondson.
With Ricky Matthews here, we have a tornado warning into North Carolina, so let's talk about that. The details of that warning, it ends at 6:45 p.m., Chowan County, Bertie County. That's where we're seeing the rotation. We also have a new warning since we last talked for areas including the Southside, Chesapeake, Suffolk, Portsmouth, Norfolk, into parts of Virginia Beach. We'll get to the warning for areas into Virginia Beach and across the Southside here next. We'll first start with the tornado warning, moving towards Coleraine, Harlesville included in that tornado warning. Belvedere, you're not in the tornado warning, but when we look at the storm wind, we're looking at areas where the wind in this bright area of green is moving towards the radar. The areas in red, which is a little more subtle, is moving away from the radar. So you can see that zone right here where we have that rotation, and that's the spot that we've been watching. This storm can also produce some very large hail with it as well. We could easily see ping pong ball size hail with this particular storm as it moves to the north. We're looking at where there's any indication of hail on our radar. It's not showing all that much right now for hail indications here, but that's where it's starting to pop up. It takes a little while to load sometimes. And the hail size within this, I was looking at a radar product earlier, easily indicating ping pong ball size hail that could be coming from this storm. Let's track it. Let's see where this is going as it's moving to the northeast. What's the forward speed of this storm, Ricky?
This one's moving east at 45, Jeff.
45 miles an hour, and that's heading into this direction. So if you're in Coleraine, get to the safe room, the lowest level of your home, in a room without windows right now, as that storm is going to be in your area at 6:22 and it's 6:19. So we're looking at about 3 minutes before that arrives. Eventually moving towards Perquimans and Pasquotank counties and towards Elizabeth City here. That would be in the next little bit. But it's going to move across the river. As it moves across the river, it should keep its strength. We'll see what happens with this as this continues moving to the north and the northeast. Let's move up to the north. Let's focus on the storms that we have across the south side. We haven't talked anything about those yet. And we have these storms that are moving in to across the south side and also around Suffolk, Norfolk, and into Virginia Beach. A lot of cities on this list. I'm just going to get out of the way so you can take it all in. Grassfield at 6:46. So that's that Deep Creek Grassfield area of Chesapeake. To the north of that is Portsmouth. I know it doesn't pop up Portsmouth on this list, but we can use the lines as basically parallel lines to when it arrives. So I would say it's a very similar time, around 6:40 for areas around Portsmouth. This will move in. So we're about 20 minutes away for Portsmouth. We're about Norfolk here, let me see, 6:39. So we're about 20 minutes or so away for areas into Norfolk. For Virginia Beach, we're looking at a little bit longer of a time, around 6:59 to 7 o'clock for many areas into Virginia Beach, maybe a touch earlier into Kempsville and around the Indian River neighborhoods. It could be around 6:55 or so. Regardless, we're looking at about a half an hour away or so for Virginia Beach. These storms are moving to the north and to the east, anywhere from 40 to about 50 miles an hour, so they can produce strong wind gusts. That's a threat that we have for areas across the south side. That's a threat that we also have for the peninsula. For the peninsula, you have a warning for your area too. It's just starting to come down in Hampton. Whoa, look at the wind here. We're getting wind gusts estimated from radar around 62 miles an hour. That can knock down trees. That can cause power outages. The trees are starting to leaf out a little bit so they can start coming down a little bit easier. Let's track the leading edge of that gust of wind moving into Buckrow Beach in the next 10 minutes. But sooner than that, for Poquoson, in the next 5 minutes, you're going to see a really strong gust of wind move possibly across your area, at least if you're in the southern part of Poquoson. But for area into Hampton, it's going to be right into your area, moving over Langley. Also moving over, really all across Hampton is where this peak wind gust is going to go as it moves to the east at approximately about 40 to 50 miles an hour. Here's Langley right here. Areas around Hampton, Phoebus, Fort Monroe. You might stay just north of that, around the Phoebus area, as that moves to the north and to the northeast. But again, with these winds that we're seeing in this bright area of red, that means that the wind is moving away from the radar, obviously, because it's heading this direction. It's heading towards where I'm standing. It's heading to the east. Here's a look at the wind speeds popping up. Thank you, Ricky, for that. And as that moves to the east, we're really looking at about the next 5 to 10 minutes for areas across Hampton. You'll see these peak wind gusts. This is the worst part of the storm right now for anywhere in the Hampton Roads cities. Much of Hampton Roads is under a warning, but the area that's seeing the strong wind gusts, at least from what we can see indicated by radar, is across a peninsula right now. So get into a room without windows. Best to stay downstairs. We don't have any spin with that storm. We don't have any tornado threat with that storm moving across Hampton and the peninsula. But we do have a storm that's producing a lot of wind. Where we do have a threat for tornadoes is this particular storm here. And this is now, we're back down into northeast North Carolina, moving across the river. Coleraine right now, the storm is over your area. That area of rotation looking kind of weak on radar, but there is some of that, and that's heading into Mills Crossroads, Rocky Hawk, and also Center Hill in the next about 15 minutes. That storm will be moving into your area. If you're located in any of those towns within that warning, it's best to seek shelter now in a room without windows, the lowest level of your home. Belvedere, you're not in the tornado warning, but the storm is still headed your way. 6:36 p.m. Right now, since you're not in the tornado warning, your main threat is large hail, ping pong ball size hail, and also you could see gusts up to 60 miles an hour from the storm. Hertford, 6:38 p.m. We'll see if you're a little far north of that or not. Can we switch it back over to regular reflectivity, please,
Sure.
Ricky? We'll take a look and see where the area of lightning is, where the area of heavy rain is. And in Hertford, it's tough to tell. You're going to get some rain, but it might miss you to the north. So you could be okay. I'll keep an eye out for you as we go into the next couple of minutes to see how this thing advances to the east. Parkville as well. You're not in the area too far south. You're in the zone where this thing is going to head right into your direction. It's about a half an hour or so away from moving into your area. As we move back to the north, Gatesville right now, a lot of heavy rain, thunder and lightning. You are in the warning part of this storm. If we can bring that more to the north, we also have that around downtown Suffolk too. Let's zoom into Suffolk. Let's see what's going on here. We have a lot of lightning in this particular area that's going to move into the Bowers Hill, Nansman area. So downtown Suffolk, you're seeing some wind, you're seeing some heavy rain moving into town right now. Not looking as bad as it does more to the north towards Driver. As that storm advances to the east, that's moving also at about 45 to 50 miles an hour. We're getting wind gusts estimated by radar at about 41 to 49 miles an hour right now. We're going to see those 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts advance to the east into Portsmouth. Let's do a little time to arrival and see where these things are headed into areas across the south side around Portsmouth specifically. We're looking at areas around Portsmouth really in the next, 3, 4, 5 minutes or so from now around spots into Portsmouth, and eventually I would say towards about the next 15 minutes towards downtown Portsmouth into the South Norfolk neighborhood and also areas around Ghent. That's about 15 minutes or so from now, looking at that time at 6:38 p.m. It could move a little faster, so we're going to have to watch for that. So 10 to 15 minutes for Portsmouth and Norfolk, you could see some of those 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gusts with this storm as it moves in. Here's a look at the big picture once again. This is the loop for the past hour as we've been watching these storms advancing to the north and east, to the east, or almost due east with this one that has a tornado warning. That tornado warning goes until 6:45 p.m., not including Belvedere, but it does include areas around the Chowan River into Chowan County. Hertford, you're not in that warning. You're seeing a little rain in your area, but you're not in the part of the tornado-warned storm. That should stay to your north.
Jeff, I wanted to point out this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Only because the Weather Service is calling out a potential for some rather large hail with this storm, warning it up for 2.5-inch hail. That is tennis ball-sized hail. We don't see that very often in our area. So these are very powerful supercell storms that are moving across the area and having the potential to produce not only that tornado there, where that tornado warning remains in effect, but also some large hail. And oftentimes with these storms, you'll have the hail on the northern side, and that tornado risk is just to the south of that. So as I turn back on the hail tracker toward the Harrelsville area, that's where we're seeing some of the best indications for that large hail right now. And then we turn the velocity, and we'll show you kind of the reflectivity and it's a little messy, kind of hard to pinpoint exactly where that may be. I'm going to switch to our shear product, see if we can pick out anything. Not any major indications there. But we're watching this storm and this powerful supercell. Hey, Jeff, we got to look at this. Look at this near Gatesville. That's may
interesting
be
right there.
A tornado right there that doesn't have a tornado warning on it. Let's switch to correlation coefficient, and we'll see if we pick out anything. Not seeing
anything too impressive. It could be a bad scan too. We're going to have to watch for that.
It may have just gone away. It may have been the last scan that came in. Let me loop this back for you.
Let's see if there's a history with that. Gatesville, and then moving. So we're moving backwards in time. Now we're moving forwards in time. We're looking at this area right here for rotation. It's tough to tell. We're going to have to watch this spot closely. Weather Service doesn't have a warning on that. We don't issue warnings. They do. So we'll see what they want to do with this particular area. Obviously, there's a lot of wind in this particular area. That's moving towards the Great Dizzle Swamp. To the spots across the south side and also for the peninsula. Ricky, let's check in with the peninsula. Let's see what's going on in Hampton, because we said about 3 minutes ago this is going to be moving in the next 5 minutes. So it's been 3 minutes from that. Hampton right now, you're going to start to get really strong wind gusts. And that's moving to the east at around 40 to 50 miles an hour. If we could take a look at some of these wind gusts inside of this particular spot across the city of Hampton, we're getting estimates at around 53 to 45, 46, 47 miles an hour into parts of Newport News. We're going to have to wait and see. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at any of the sensors here from the Newport News Airport, maybe from Langley, if we can get a report from them to see if they've reported any strong wind gusts so far.
Here's some of the latest gusts.
Okay.
So you look at 37 mile per hour gusts.
This may be lagging behind a little bit too in data time, but certainly we can see there may be some strong wind gusts with this particular storm, which that's what the forecast is all about for. Wind gusts that could be in excess of 60 miles an hour. Thankfully, this is about to move over the bay. For the eastern shore, can we do a little time to arrival for the eastern shore here? Let's do this line, moving through the middle peninsula and also into the peninsula. For the middle peninsula, we haven't talked about you much because you haven't seen a warning for your area. The cooler air has moved into your area. But for spots across the eastern shore, just so you know when these are going to move into the region, about 7 o'clock or so from Melfa, a little bit earlier than that in the Cape Charles, I would say probably about 6:45 or so into Cape Charles. This will move in, and it could pack a punch as it moves across the bay. As that wind races across the bay, it doesn't have the friction like it does from buildings and trees, so it could keep the wind speed up moving into Cape Charles here. You have about 15 minutes to go before that wind should reach your area.
If we can go over to, this will be Max 1. I just want to show you a couple cameras here across the area. This is going to be in the city of Hampton. And right near I-64 and Mercury Boulevard. You can certainly see on our camera, if we can pull up Max 1, and sometimes it takes a minute to get there. But as you look at the radar here, you continue to see the chance of, there you go, there's your shot from I-64 and Mercury Boulevard. Certainly some heavy rain coming down here with these storms, and also the potential for some of those gusty winds to be moving right now directly into where the city of Hampton is. I want to switch this back over to our reflectivity. I'm going to zoom in really close to the city of Hampton. This is moving into some spots that I'm pretty familiar with. So this will be, we turn on the velocity, approaching the Bloxham's Corner area. So this is going down Fox Hill Road as you get close to Woodland Road. There's a elementary school, Phillips Elementary School is where these strong winds are approaching right now. And then Fox Hill, as you go down Beach Road, that's where some of these strong winds will be moving into over the next about 5 to 10 minutes as these storms continue to race off to the north and east. So they're about to clear the city of Hampton. And as they continue off towards the east, they'll then be approaching the Chesapeake Bay. But heads up, still some gusty winds in those areas over about the next 15 to 20 minutes. So that warning, because we've come up on 6:30, has expired. We're going to go down to the south now and show you this warning for the south side here. This is going to be for Suffolk, Portsmouth, Norfolk, and the western side of the city of Virginia Beach. And as we turn the winds on here, and I'll query a few of these for you, we're still getting some 40 to almost 45 mile per hour gusts with these storms as well. So certainly some potential for some strong gusty winds to move into downtown Portsmouth and downtown Norfolk here over the next 15 to 20 minutes. We'll put a storm track on this in the Edgefield area. You've got about 2 or 3 minutes before some of these stronger winds move into your neck of the woods. Downtown Portsmouth, 6:35, Norfolk, 6:41, Azalea Acres, 6:43, and the Kempsville area, 6:48. So about 18 minutes for you guys in Kempsville for these strong gusty winds to push in. I'm going to take you further south once again. We had this big warning. Pretty much anywhere from the peninsula south is under a severe thunderstorm warning at this hour. And I wouldn't be surprised if these are continued off towards the east a little bit as well and make kind of these storms continue into the city of Virginia Beach. No warning officially yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get one here over the next little bit as these storms continue to race off towards the east. But let's go back to the tornado warning once again. And I'll show you where this tornado warning is located and talk about where this storm is going to be heading. This is a very powerful supercell thunderstorm that is making its way through parts of northeast North Carolina. This includes, that's our severe thunderstorm warning that popped on there. Let's get the tornado warning data to pop on instead if we can. That's still a severe thunderstorm warning. All right, well, so that severe thunderstorm warning has now crossed the Chowan River, and it's making its way closer to Hertford, closer to Gates County here. And we're going to continue to monitor this. Chowan County, you kind of are in the main area of concern right now. Edenton, not included in this warning, but areas north of there towards Cisco, we got to watch out for this storm as it advances through those areas. Jeff, not seeing any major signs of rotation on this
No, not seeing
still,
much with that one.
but something to keep in mind, sorry, is that this is further away from the radar site too. So we're not getting as clear of a picture as we may get, for a storm that was a couple weeks ago. We had that tornado warning very close to Wakefield, and it looked so clear on radar because we were so close to it. So we're hitting the storm a couple thousand feet up on this one, so
Yes.
it may be a little harder to see.
So because the radar site's so far away, so we're looking higher and higher into the sky. So the radar site is right here. As you're looking farther away, the beam or the data that we get is higher and higher sky because of the curvature of the Earth. That warning until 6:45 p.m., that tornado warning. So we have another good 10 to 15 minutes to go on that particular warning. As you mentioned, Ricky, the warning for the peninsula was allowed to expire, which is great news. A lot of lightning. If you could turn on the lightning here on your scene, just so you can see, look at all of the lightning that we have with this storm moving across northeast North Carolina. This storm is moving to the north and east around 40 to 50 miles an hour. And there's a good chance that there's some large hail with this storm, too. Ricky, you were mentioning earlier that they were saying, what was the size, 2-inch hail? Or
Ping pong ball sized hail.
Ping pong ball sized hail.
Tennis ball sized hail. That was right. It was ping pong ball sized initially, and then they upgraded it to tennis ball sized hail. So I haven't seen any official reports come out of those areas yet. But certainly, these are powerful storms that are racing across northeast North Carolina when they have warnings for that magnitude of hail.
Now, for the storms that are moving into the city of Suffolk, Virginia Beach, Portsmouth, Norfolk, Chesapeake, the south side basically, these storms could have hail size of about 1 inch in diameter. However, I'm seeing something interesting, and I don't know if you've seen this too, Ricky, around areas in downtown Suffolk, it's pretty weak. So I don't know if this storm, the north side of it is just going to continue on to the north and east, and the south side is going to advance more to the south, and maybe it'll split. But there's some wind with it, though. So I'm not saying it's weak or it's done, but it doesn't look as healthy, at least around Suffolk. But for spots into Portsmouth, you could probably see a wind gust here in the next 5 minutes of around 40 to 45 miles an hour. So that includes a Churchland neighborhood in northern Portsmouth. That also includes areas towards Old Town and into Portsmouth, downtown Portsmouth, and even the Craddock neighborhood too. Here's that time to arrival as it advances to the east into areas around the city of Norfolk. Azalea Acres around 6:46. Little Creek at 6:50. So you're about 20 minutes or so from that when that arrives. Kempsville, we're looking at 6:50, so we're also looking at less than 20 minutes from arrival. Mount Trashmore at 6:53. Looks like we just got a new scan there,
hey, Jeff,
so a new fresh line of data.
Jump in here real quick. I have a friend who's one of the storm chasers, and he's down in the Gatesville area. He's a pretty good storm chaser, and he said there was a tornado here about 4 minutes ago just to the east of Gatesville, North Carolina. So I think it's something we should maybe go back and look at the velocity real quick if we can. That may have been the area we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that was that area that we were watching. We saw that there may have been a little sign of rotation. So this is around the Gatesville area,
Right there.
right through Gatesville. And that is interesting to see because it was one scan that we saw that was very bright. Basically, we saw one scan of information that showed, oh, there's some rotation there. And then we looked back and we could see some. Let's see what this thing is doing. So again, that's advancing to the north and east. Where we're looking at now is where there might be storm debris. Anything other than rain or ice in the cloud, things like pieces of trees or things like pieces of a building, that type of debris. We're not seeing any clear signature on the storm debris track right now, but we do have a lot of wind with this particular storm. Are we just looking at velocity or is this storm relative velocity? Which one are you looking at?
That's velocity. Here's storm relative velocity.
Okay.
And you can see, I mean, there's certainly some, I think the tornado risk for that Gatesville one has probably cut itself off now. We had the strong winds come in and kind of push ahead of them and kind of cut off that circulation. I can loop this for you and I'll show you what I mean.
Yeah, let's do like a 30-minute loop or something on that. Yeah.
So here's what we were looking at earlier, and you
Right?
saw the area of rotation right there near Gatesville. I'll let you point it out.
It's moving really fast. But yeah, right through there, right through Gatesville. You can see that bright area where it appears yellow for a second. Here we go. We can slow it down a little bit. So that's the area that we've been watching. We are not in a tornado warning with this particular area, but you said a storm chaser may have seen something with this particular storm. Right now, that area of interest is moving around right over Route 158. The tornado warning down to the south, where we've had some rotation with that warning goes until 6:45. We have another 9 minutes on that area. We just got a fresh line of data coming in. I'm not seeing any clear rotation in this. Looks like this thing has weakened a little bit in the last 10 minutes, so that's looking a lot better. But if we can go back to the storm reports, what we've seen so far, and this is a new one here. I haven't seen that report.
Yeah,
what is the
just
info on
came
that?
in. This is for 1.8-inch hail, so that's going to be golf ball size hail in Bertie County, just from the Newsom Store area, about 2 miles southwest of there, is where the train weather spotter reported 1.8-inch hail just shortly ago. So that's the same storm, we're kind of talking about here that has a tornado warning. The storm that we pointed out earlier had the hail indicator on it too, and I'm going to turn that back on. That's now moving through the Mittensville area and the Belvedere area. So let's kind of give some folks a heads up on this in advance of where this hail storm is located. And I'm going to draw a storm track from this north and east. So we're talking parts of Pasquotank County, parts of Camden County, and maybe if this holds together, Currituck County, so the Lynch's Corner area, Peach, 639, South Mills, 654, Tar Corner, 657. Those are the areas we're going to have to watch out for some large hail potential as this storm continues up to the north and east. When we look at the traditional reflectivity, once again, if you look closely just to the north and west of Belvedere, you can see a few areas where there's like a brighter kind of pinkish color indicated there. That's where we have the best potential for some of that hail on reflectivity. And as we kind of look at some of our other shots here, I'm going to pull up a camera view for you that Jeff has pulled up here on the side. Give me 1 second, Jeff, and I'll get that pulled up here.
Okay, you got that? Okay.
It's going to take a second to load, but this is a really dramatic-looking camera shot here from Virginia Beach, from the Armada Hoffler Tower in Virginia Beach here. And if it doesn't load on that, we'll get the load on. There it goes. So there is the storm making its way into the south side, and these storms are still, a couple miles away.
But you can see the shelf cloud right here.
Exactly,
The leading edge of the storm. So the shelf cloud, the leading edge of the storm, that's where the strong wind gusts would be in that particular storm. So this is Virginia Beach Town Center. Here's a Westin Hotel building. Here's a Wegmans grocery store right here. The Walmart is actually right here, that white roof building. Virginia Beach Boulevard is off the screen, but it goes that way. Here's Independence right here, so you can get your bearings straight. And we're looking that direction towards downtown Norfolk, downtown Portsmouth. That's where that leading edge of the storm is. We can't quite see it on tower cam right now, but we'll try and spin that around maybe later on here to see what's going on. Let's go back to Super Doppler 10. We have that tornado warning that goes until 6:45 p.m. for areas in northeast North Carolina. That storm is moving out of that warned area here very soon. Just got a fresh scan of data. That storm is moving into Belvedere. You might get some strong wind gusts with this storm. You could see wind gusts around 60 miles an hour. You're not in the tornado warning. I'm not seeing any clear rotation with that, some subtle rotation, but not anything that's too impressive. But still, time to seek shelter in a room without windows. Get away from the windows in case there's a strong gust of wind that moves into your area. Large hail has been coming down with the storm too. We've been seeing reports of hail that could be close to, well, look at the hail estimates right here and how large it would be. It's more north of Belvedere, but we could see hail around 2 inches in diameter. One of the thoughts earlier was tennis ball size hail. We haven't seen anything that large. That is devastating hail, but certainly larger than golf ball size hail is a possibility. To the north, right along North Carolina, Virginia state line, we have near Parker's Fork, south of Whaleyville, a zone of hail that's going to move over the Great Dismal Swamp. We're going to have to watch a storm as it moves over the swamp to see if there's any regeneration or any redevelopment with this particular storm cell. A lot of lightning with this storm. Let's look at the south side right now. We have an area of heavy rainfall coming down around Portsmouth, also into Norfolk. That storm is moving to the east at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. Greenbrier areas of Portsmouth, Old Town of Portsmouth. We have that storm that's just about to move in. We're going to get some strong wind with that. Hopefully not any hail, but that is a possibility. Here's a look at the storm wind. The wind is moving, the whole storm rather, is moving to the east at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. We could get gusts up to 60 miles an hour. Let's see where this thing is headed in the next little bit. Little Creek at 6:52, this would be arriving into your area. The last time we checked that ETA for Little Creek, it was at 6:50. So a little bit off, about 2 minutes change, but not too much of a change though with the speed of the storm. It's really following our prediction. Kempsville also about the same time, close to around 6:50. That's about 10 minutes from now. It'll be moving into areas around Virginia Beach and into Kempsville. As we look to other areas across the south side, Chesapeake, it's looking a lot better for areas, I would say, from Deep Creek into the south. For northern areas of Chesapeake, could you go back up to the south neighborhood and northern areas of Chesapeake? We have that, thanks Ricky, this area of strong wind gusts moving across southern Portsmouth, right along Military Highway, going across the Elizabeth River. We just got a fresh update here, and that gust of wind, that's what we're looking at with this bright area of red right here, is going to move into the South Norfolk neighborhood. You could see wind gusts around 40 to 50 miles an hour from this particular storm as that moves to the east. Here's time to arrival. Bells Mill, 6:45. Great Bridge, you're south of the area of high wind. You'll get the heavy rain to move in at around the time listed on the screen. Mount Trashmore at about 6:53 and Kempsville at about 6:51. We could see some strong wind gusts moving into the area as that storm moves to the east and to the northeast at around 40 to 50 miles an hour. We'll go back to a view of Super Doppler 10. Let's just reset and see where everything is right now. Here's a look at Super Doppler 10 across the peninsula right now. By the way, you're all clear in Williamsburg. You're all clear Gloucester Point. You're all clear around much of Newport News. Hampton, it's still raining pretty hard right now, but in terms of seeing the strong wind gusts, you'll be all clear here in about the next 15 minutes. For the eastern shore, you do not have a warning as this moves into Cape Charles. You could get gusts around 40 to 45 miles an hour as that storm moves across the bay, but you are not in a warning across the eastern shore. So you're looking okay for tonight. I'm not expecting a new warning to get issued. The storm is moving over the cold water of the bay. It should help to weaken it. So that's good news. Where we don't have the cold water is across the south side of northeast North Carolina, and that's where we have a lot of warmth. It was warm today, about 80 degrees for the high temperature, and that's the fuel that these storms are taking advantage of as they move to the east. They're starting to get a little more ragged looking. They're starting to look a little bit weaker in some spots on the northern edge of this particular storm, but not much weaker. There's still a lot of lightning with this. There's still a great chance for some large hail and also some strong wind gusts as this line of storms moves to the east at around 40 to 50 miles an hour. Belvedere right now, you are not in the tornado warning. That tornado warning will probably be expiring here in the next 2 minutes. That's when it was scheduled to end. Parkville, you might get some strong wind gusts with this. Elizabeth City too. You're looking at a chance for some strong wind gusts. But what about the hail? Let's track and see where this hail is headed. This could be the zone of hail where we could see hail size about really golf ball size in diameter. And as that moves to the north and to the east, Moyock, if it stays on more of a northern trajectory, that'd be about 706. But around downtown and areas around Currituck, town center of Currituck, and into Currituck County, you're looking at about the next 30 minutes from now when that moves into your area. A bit earlier than that for South Mills, in about the next 11 minutes, that zone of hail could be moving into the region. I don't know if you can hear, Ricky, the heavy rain is coming down on the rooftop here. Do you have any updates from the National Weather Service at all?
I've not heard if they're going to continue this tornado warning or not. It's 6:44, so I would assume that if they were going to, they would have issued the warning since it's pretty much outside of the warning polygon. I think the bigger concern, is probably that hail now with this storm, with those severe thunderstorm warnings continuing. I have not heard any other reports come in either from the Weather Service. We're just kind of watching the storms race across the area now, and you can hear the heavy rain coming down here on our roof here in downtown Portsmouth. So this storm making its way into the city of Norfolk, the city of Portsmouth, approaching ODU, the Midtown Tunnel, the Virginia Zoo, and many other areas. Let me take you back north here on the radar, and I'll show you. This storm could even have a little bit of some small hail with it. It's certainly a lot smaller in size than
and we just got a report of nickel-sized hail coming out of the city of Newport News.
Okay, awesome. So that was from the storms earlier, because now those have raced into the Chesapeake Bay, but we continue to monitor this storm now making its way through downtown Norfolk and approaching the Naval Station, Bayview. Ocean View may be just far enough north to kind of escape some of this, but that's where some of the heavier storms are going to be moving here. These storms are quickly racing off towards the east, so we have kind of two main areas of severe weather at this hour, the one moving through the Norfolk and Portsmouth area and the northern side of the city of Chesapeake, and then this secondary storm here in northeast North Carolina that is moving through Hertford into the Elizabeth City area, Perquimans, Pasquotank, Camden, Currituck counties. Heads up, this is heading your direction and will continue to race off towards the north and east. The rotation that we saw earlier, I think, has really decreased. I'm not seeing anything major on there. But certainly the indications are still there for some very heavy rains, some gusty winds, and also the hail potential. That may be the kind of the trademark of this storm as it makes its way through northeast North Carolina, some of the large hail that falls out of this storm as it continues to race off towards the north and east. So we're coming up 6:46, Jeff. That tornado warning has now expired. So as we continue to kind of monitor storms across the area, we'll kind of reset everything and Okay, if we can pull up, our folks in the back saying to pull up our web camera. So if we can pull up that.
They're about to pull it up. That's fine.
Okay.
We'll keep a close eye on radar while we're waiting for that to pop up. So again, a lot of lightning, a lot of wind possibly with these storms, and the also potential for some large hail as these storms move to the east and to the north. We haven't had any reports of very large hail across the Hampton Roads cities. We do have that nickel-size hail report. We don't have any large hail reports from across the south side. We do have large hail reports from across northeast North Carolina. So that's something that we're going to have to watch for closely with the storms moving to the east and to the north at about 40 miles an hour. This is a view on Tower Cam 10. If you look closely, you can see the sheets of rain, the rain coming down as we have brighter skies down to the south off into the distance. So you can see that. Occasionally there's some flashes of lightning too. Haven't had any significant reports of any wind that could have caused power outages, but maybe we'll get those reports delayed. But right now, we're looking a lot better as we don't have any active tornado warnings across the area. Just one area in North Carolina with a lot of wind. And if we could switch back to Max 2, so we could take a look at Super Doppler 10, or Max 2, if we could take a look at Super Doppler 10. We have that storm that's moving to the east at about 40 miles an hour. The National Weather Service is continuing these warnings until 7 o'clock for the south side and also for areas into northeast North Carolina, also until 7:15 p.m. So we're going to keep a close eye on this view on Super Doppler 10. I'll show you a loop of what's going on, and then we'll send it over to Nightly News, and we'll go on Fox 43. We'll stay tuned for more updates on WAVY News 10 on Fox 43. But with these two particular warned storms, these are moving to the east at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. The southern one has the larger potential for large hail. The one to the north across the south side, some wind, maybe some hail, moving towards the naval base and eventually into the city of parts of Virginia Beach. You could see some of those strong wind gusts and also that hail. Ricky, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head here. We still continue to monitor these storms moving across a large part of the area. The peninsula is clear now, middle peninsula clear, eastern shore heads up. These storms are approaching the Cape Charles area. Wouldn't be shocked, Jeff, if maybe we get a warning for the southern portion of the eastern shore here towards Northampton County over the next little bit. And in addition to that, we're continuing to monitor the storms approaching the Great Decimal Swamp right now and making their way through northeast North Carolina. As you look at the radar and look at the lightning, there's a prolific amount of lightning with some of these storms just in the past 5 to 10 minutes. So these storms certainly have very good indications of producing some strong weather, some lightning. About 25 lightning strikes here just in the past 5 minutes. And when I kind of look at the stats off the screen, a lot of these are positive lightning strikes, which are sometimes the more powerful lightning strikes. They sometimes can strike ahead of even where the rain is falling. So as these storms approach your area, even though it may not be raining yet, and I know a lot of times you want to go outside and stand on your front porch and look at the storm clouds. Hey, I used to do it all the time too. I'm a meteorologist. We do things sometimes where we tell you not to do, but to keep you and your family safe, recommend you make your way indoors before the storms move in, because these storms do have a lot of lightning with them and then those gusty winds associated with them as well.
Just got a report from the city of Gloucester, Gloucester Courthouse area of pea-size hail. Nothing significant, but just wanted to relay that for everyone in the Hayes area in Gloucester County. So around, close to Gloucester Courthouse, just to the west of that, you had some small hail earlier. Western Branch also reports of penny-size hail for the city of Chesapeake. Penny-size hail, that was not too long ago, about 10 minutes ago. The storm ETA, the time to arrival for spots across the city of Virginia Beach, you're looking at the storm moving into Great Neck around Little Haven, close to around 7 o'clock. Little Neck, Great Neck areas around 7 o'clock, towards Oceana around 7:03, Dam Neck Corner about 7:07. That storm will be moving in. A lot of lightning with this particular cell too, as this thing is moving to the east at around 40 to 50 miles an hour. We'll just look at the lightning here in the last 5 minutes. About 25 lightning strikes, so a lot of lightning with this particular storm. And it looks like there is a new tornado warning that's been issued for areas into northeast North Carolina, also including areas and parts of the Chesapeake area. I was watching this earlier about 2 minutes ago. I saw some views of some rotation in this particular part of the storm. And I'm glad we're staying on here because we have that area that has a little rotation with that. It's right this there. Spot right here. So if you want to take over radar, I'll let you grab the controls so the mouse can toggle it. But this is the area of rotation. So we're looking right along southern city of Chesapeake, Northern areas north of Moyock. Moyock, you are not in that tornado warning, but towards Northwest River Park, Hickory, you are in that tornado warning. There's a shopping area, the Walmart, the Home Depot, all in this region. Right along Route 168, you are in that tornado warning. I know there's a lot of newer homes in that area. You just got the alert on your phone. Seek shelter immediately in a room without windows, the lowest level of your home. If your house has a basement, go into there. I know a lot of houses, especially in this particular area, don't have a basement because of the high water table. Go into that bathroom. Go into that closet, that room without windows. Under the stairwell, there might be a closet. If you have a bicycle helmet that you can find in the next 30 seconds, grab that. If you can't find it in the next 30 seconds, then just go into that safe room. Don't spend the next 5 minutes looking for a helmet. Helmets protect your head. It's a great thing to have, but don't spend the next 5 minutes looking for that because you don't want to waste time. Just get to the safe room at this point. We're seeing some rotation with this particular storm. It moved over the Great Dizzle Swamp, may have strengthened a little bit. I've seen that before, and it happens time and time again. As the storm advances to the north and the east, let's see where this is headed. Towards Fentress, around 707. So that area is around Fentress, about 707. Lansdowne areas into Virginia Beach at around 713 if it makes it all the way up into Oceana, but I believe this rain here will move in first. So that time for Oceana may not be exact because this will take a long time to get into the area. Thankfully, this particular spot of Virginia Beach is mostly just parkland and not a lot of residents. I know there's still residents in this area here towards Pungo, and you could see the storm moving into your region in the next about 10 to 15 minutes. Where's the rotation with this particular storm? We're looking back in time. You see how this area kind of spins around itself? The area of red is the wind moving away from the radar. The area of green is towards the radar. So we have some rotation in this particular area. I don't know if you've seen anything on correlation coefficient on CC if we have any storm debris with this particular spot that's tornado warned. We're not seeing that. What we're looking at here is a spot that would be in these colors. A nice circle that would be in that green to maybe white. That's a classic sign of where the tornado might be. We don't have that. We just have a couple of little squares of yellow. So we're doing okay, at least in terms of not seeing the tornado with debris, but that doesn't mean that there isn't one at all. There could be a small one. There may not be debris. There's a lot of areas that are farmland in this particular area. I take that bike route all the time along the Great Dizzle Swamp, and the farm fields don't have a lot of crops growing in them yet. It's a little early. We just had a threat for a frost not too long ago, so we're not quite into growing season yet. But we are in the time of year, and any time of year, where we could see severe weather, and there still are a lot of homes in this area along Ballahack Road, too. You are included in that tornado warning. If we could zoom down a little bit closer to get some of the roads to appear in this particular area. I know we won't get a lot of city labels to appear, but we will get spots that are recognizable. Along Route 17, here's Northwest and Northwest River Park right here in that particular area. This is the area of most concern of rotation. And if you could switch back to reflectivity too, so we can kind of see what's going on. Right in that middle view, we can get Cornland to pop up, we can get Hickory to pop up. Here's a look at that storm moving to the east at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. Here's Route 168 right here. You can see it on the view. And this storm has a potential to produce a tornado. So if you're in Hickory or areas included in this tornado warning, it's time to seek shelter immediately in a room without windows. Go to the lowest level of your home. A lot of lightning with this particular storm. Here's a look at the routes right here. Here's 17 right there. Here's 168 through St. Bride's in the correctional facility right there. That storm is moving to the east and the northeast at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. And that storm has the potential to produce a tornado. Now, other areas that we've been watching too across the south side into Norfolk, it's looking a little bit better. Portsmouth, you've had the wind, you still have the heavy rain. The wind is moving into really Virginia Beach right now towards Little Creek, areas north of 264. If you're south of 264 in Virginia Beach, it's not looking so bad. The rain that's across northern Chesapeake around the Greenbrier, Grassfield areas, towards the Indian River road areas around Kempsville, it's not looking that strong. Yeah, there's going to be some thunder and lightning, and there also will be some wind with it, but I don't see your area getting the worst of the storm. North of 264 is where we could see the stronger wind gusts from that particular storm. Back to the south, we're looking at where the large hail is and also where it isn't too. South Mills, there could be some very large hail moving into the area. Moyock, you might get some of this hail too from this particular storm as it moves to the east at around 40 to 50 miles an hour. The threat for hail on the northern side of this, what size are they estimated for that? Is that about inch in diameter?
Yeah, that would be around an inch or so hail. On our hail view, not seeing, there it actually is. Let's query that and we'll see what it picks up here on our hail view. About an inch or so. So that's getting close to quarter-size hail as you approach the areas just northeast of Belvedere and making your way into the Pasquotank County area. And then eventually this continues north and east. It'll be making its way into Camden County just to the south of the South Mills area. If we could take, this is going to be max 1. I'll jump over on that one and I'll show you the view of what we've got going on for Virginia Beach Town Center. You're looking at the storm here as we kind of look down towards the city of Chesapeake. Some familiar spots you may pick out. There's a Best Buy in this shot. There is 264 in the distance, and that's Independence as you see the cars kind of driving down the road. And then you're looking long distance, and it's kind of obscured by a little bit of rain, but you can certainly see kind of where that darker area is, and that's likely the storm that we're looking at towards the city of Chesapeake. And so this is the area that we're monitoring for that potential tornado. Virginia Beach, you are not in the tornado warning, but we just wanted to show you the view. That's our closest camera that we have there that kind of looks down towards the city of Chesapeake. So areas that are included in this warning right now, the Hickory area, 168, the Chesapeake Expressway, you've probably driven down that many a times to make your way into the Outer Banks. A lot of those areas along there are under this tornado warning. Fentress, you are in this tornado warning as well. And so all these areas are where you're going to want to be taking shelter. Where is that shelter? It's going to be on the lowest floor, interior room, a hallway, bathroom, closet, place like that. That's the best place to go. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Protect yourself from any flying debris. If you have a bicycle or a motorcycle helmet, your kids play sports, maybe they've got the football helmet, the baseball helmet just laying in their room, grab that on your way to your shelter and put it on your head to protect yourself from any of that flying debris. We've learned over the years that most injuries in tornadoes come as a result of flying debris. Now, tornadoes in our area, they're a little tricky. Oftentimes, you cannot see them coming because they are what we call rain-wrapped. They are shrouded in rain, so all you kind of see is a big wall of water approaching before the tornado moves up. They can also spin up quickly and they can dissipate quickly. And that's kind of what we're seeing tonight with some of these storms. We're seeing these quick little circulations spin up and then dissipate quickly. But these rain-wrapped tornadoes can be more dangerous because it's just so hard to see them as they move through the area, and they can spin up very, very quickly. So let's go back to the reflectivity here, and I'm going to show you once again where these storms are and where they're advancing into. The whole entire complex of storms now basically extends from the northern area here of the city of Virginia Beach, getting close to Shore Drive, and then going all the way south into northeast North Carolina. We've got a big line of storms. The only folks really escaping kind of the bigger storm action tonight is areas near 64 here in the southern end. You get into the city of Chesapeake towards where the mall is. But the tornado warning, that continues here as we go over the next little bit. That's going to be for Chesapeake and also the northern portion here of parts of Camden County. I think really, Jeff, we can probably give a few all clears if you want to.
Yeah, we totally
for
can.
North Carolina and kind of just talk more about maybe where this storm's going to be advancing over the next little bit because we're going to be getting out of the city of Chesapeake if this holds together, and even if it doesn't continue to produce the risk of a tornado, these storms tonight have a history of producing gusty winds, and I wouldn't be shocked if we get maybe a severe thunderstorm warning for some areas of Virginia Beach. Probably the entire city of Virginia Beach, kind of looking at the radar picture, may be included in these warnings as we go over the next little bit, but especially the southern area.
And a lot of areas, too, want to add that have been taken out of that tornado watch. So the question that I get sometimes, are we going to get another line of storms that's going to fire off and develop after this line? In this case, we might get some rain, but I'm not expecting any more severe weather to come through. So if we can switch back over to Max 2, so you can take a look and see where this area of rain is right now. 10, we have this zone of rain that's moving to the east, and behind it, if you're in this entire area, I'll circle it here in this blue color, there could be some more rain that develops here tonight, but you're basically in the spot that's all clear, and you're in the spot that's not going to see any more severe weather for tonight. The area of most concern right now is, I would say, parts of Virginia Beach, parts of Chesapeake, where we have the tornado warning, obviously, and also into northeast North Carolina, the area of yellow. For the eastern shore, you are not in any particular spots that is of concern right now. You're getting some very heavy rainfall moving across the southern eastern shore towards Eastville, Cape Charles. There's a lot of thunder and lightning right now coming through Cape Charles. But you're going to be okay. This storm will move through shortly. In the next 10 to 15 minutes, it'll start to slow down, and then you'll be looking better. Back to the south side. As we look to the city of Virginia Beach, we'll work our way from north to south. Northern areas of Virginia Beach right now, from 264 and north, there could be some strong wind gusts with this leading edge of rain moving into the area, including Fort Story. But this line is not likely going to produce very strong winds as we go into the next little bit. You can see a split screen here as we look over the Lynn Haven Inlet, the Lesnar Bridge right now, and you can see the leading edge of that storm where we're looking at on radar. And this storm could produce some strong wind gusts, but it looks like the strongest part of it has lifted north, and that area has weakened as it moves over the CBBT and over the bay. Let's go back down to the south. Areas around Chesapeake, northern Chesapeake, just some heavy rainfall, thunder and lightning through Great Bridge, Oak Grove, Grassfield, Essex Meadows, and then down to the south, including Hickory, you are in that tornado warning. So where is that area of rotation in this storm? It's not so much in Hickory, it's more so to the south of Hickory is where I'm kind of seeing it, this area, and it's pretty broad right now, but it's in this sector right around here. Let me highlight it on the screen so you can kind of see where we're looking. Generally in this zone is where we're seeing that, but we're also seeing some strong wind with this particular storm too, and that's a little bit more to the south, these areas of this bright red color where we have wind gusts that could be around 40 to 50 miles an hour with that particular storm as that lifts to the north and to the east. Again, let's zoom this out, let's reset, and let's see what's going on with this particular storm. We're looking at the storm wind. We're going to switch back over to the reflectivity, and let's look at the loop for the past hour to see what's going on. I've turned off the warnings, by the way, in case you're wondering where they all went. We don't have any warnings turned on right now. Put them back on right now, and you can see what's going on. We have that tornado warning that goes until 7:15. We have that severe thunderstorm warning that also goes until about that same time too. A lot of lightning right now south of South Mills, north towards Elizabeth City. Let's pause this loop, and we'll see how much lightning we have in this particular area. And we have in the last 5 minutes, we have seen the amount of lightning around 27 lightning strikes, so a lot of that. This storm, Ricky also points out too, this is the same one that moved through Gatesville. Ricky, if you could load up a little historical look on Max 1,
yep,
and we'll take a look at that, and I'll keep going to Max 2, and just let me know when you're done with that. We can look at the past of that particular storm that has a tornado warning. Why do we want to look at the past? Because maybe we could get a better idea on where it's headed. Ricky?
If we can switch over to Max 1, I'll show you this, and we'll kind of give you a perspective. So if you've been watching our coverage for a while, I know we've been going for almost an hour now with severe weather and tornado warning coverage. Just around 6:25, we were covering that tornado warning for parts of Chowan and Bertie County, Hertford County. And Jeff and I were saying, hey, look at this, just northeast of Gatesville. I've had our assignment desk reach out, Jeff, and we haven't heard any reports back on any damage yet, but we're certainly going to keep an eye on what's happened down there. And maybe this didn't touch down, but what the radar was showing at that time was this little area right here, just east of Gatesville, which was an area where there was some strong rotation ongoing. And we had a report from a storm watcher, storm chaser down in that area that there was a tornado that touched down. So we continued that rotation north and east, right? And then it made its way into parts of Chesapeake. So as we now take you further north and east towards where this warning is in effect right now, that same storm right about there is where they issued the warning for. And now it's moving into portions of the southeastern side here of the city of Chesapeake and making its way closer to Virginia Beach. The rotation now is pretty much passing right over 168, the northwest area, just to the south of Hickory. But very interesting to kind of watch these storms over the past hour. A lot of times these storms will cycle, and so they'll have a little rotation, they'll calm down for a little bit, and then they'll ramp back up. That may be what we're kind of seeing right now with this storm as it makes its way through the southern portion of Southside towards Chesapeake, and then into eventually now making its way shortly into the city of Virginia Beach. No warnings on this. The Weather Service has cleared officially the areas in North Carolina that were underneath this warning, so no longer under the tornado warning For Camden or Currituck counties, it's just the city of Chesapeake that is underneath this tornado warning on the southeast side of the city of Chesapeake, where we have this tornado warning that's going to go until roughly until about 7:15 tonight. So for about another 10 minutes or so, we have that tornado warning.
If we could switch back over to the Max 2, I want to show everyone what I saw earlier, and this is looking at the turbulence inside the storm. This is at 6:24 p.m. over Gatesville, and we'll just kind of toggle it back and forth. And you can see that area of purple is a spot of most interest. That may have been where that intense rotation was, and may have been where there could have been a possible tornado, Ricky. We didn't have a tornado warning with this particular storm, but look how the lightning flares up too.
Yep.
That tends to happen when there may be a tornado in the area. Not all the time, but we can see how that advances more to the north and to the east. I'll zoom this out so we can watch that particular area, and we'll get to the new severe thunderstorm warning here in just a moment. But that one spot of intense turbulence, it goes off the screen there, but it doesn't look as impressive, and I really just don't see it anymore, to be honest. I just don't see it as much as it moves into spots across the city of Chesapeake.
So I did a little bit of analysis off screen. One thing I'm seeing, Jeff, there is when you tilt the storm up into some of the upper levels, you do see kind of the broad rotation, because these are supercell thunderstorms. So as we talked about earlier on WAVY News 10, these storms are all rotating. And so I think maybe earlier, you know, as you were showing, it had a little bit of low-level rotation. Maybe now it's more kind of mid-level rotation, a couple thousand feet up in the atmosphere, and it's not mixing that down to the ground, which is great news. That's what we want, these storms to kind of just continue off towards the east, producing some gusty winds, but not producing that tornado risk. I'll let you kind of pinpoint this new area here where we've got that severe thunderstorm warning, because a lot of these areas have not seen any storms into their area yet.
Yeah, and this is a new warning that we have. This warning, I believe, goes until 7:15. No, that shouldn't go until 7:15. What's the time on that new warning?
That warning goes until 8 o'clock tonight. It's good for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1.5-inch hail.
So this is for basically the Albemarle Sound and north. We have this severe thunderstorm warning. It also includes Virginia Beach. I'll redraw it to include Virginia Beach here. We'll zoom it in a little bit closer. But around areas into Elizabeth City, this is moving into your area very soon. We have this part of the storm that doesn't have as much rotation with us, but the main takeaway here will be for the strong wind gusts that we'll have with this particular storm moving in towards Elizabeth City right now. So there could be some very strong wind with this storm. There also could be some large hail with this particular storm too. The areas where we have the better chance to see hail, I would say, would be where we have more lightning activity in these particular areas, and that could be the spot where we have the better chance to see the large hail with this particular storm. We'll zoom it back out. We'll take a look at where the storm is headed for areas into the city of Virginia Beach. You're also included in that warning, and that warning goes until 8 o'clock. So for the next 15 minutes, it'll be moving into Falls Cape, and you'll have that storm moving into your particular area. We'll zoom it back out here. Let's take a look at the big picture, and Ricky, I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, so once again, just kind of as we reset everything here, it's 7:09 in the evening. A lot of you are probably getting home, maybe you've eaten dinner already. Now you're kind of tuning in for the evening broadcast and stuff like that. So we have a couple areas still under the gun for strong to severe weather, but we also have many areas that are clear. The peninsula, clear, no issues there. Same thing as you make your way west into parts of Isle of Wight. There's a little bit of heavy rain falling, but you guys are not under the risk for any more severe weather. Who is under the risk for severe weather right now is the city of Virginia Beach and the city of Chesapeake as we make our way into the south side. That's where that tornado warning remains in effect. That's going to be for the city of Chesapeake, pretty much right on the eastern side. The Chesapeake Expressway is right through here. And Jeff, this is getting closer to where the Virginia Beach border is, but Blackwater right here. We've got Hickory right here. The rotation area is just to the north and east, the northwest area, where there's a park down there. And here's Fentress Landing Field. So our rotation would be right in here. We're not seeing any indications of any strong low-level rotation as we saw earlier. A little bit earlier with these storms as they progressed through northeast North Carolina and made their way towards the Virginia-North Carolina border. But there certainly still is enough broad rotation here. The Weather Service, I think, is going to let this warning kind of run for the next 5 minutes. And they're also just kind of giving everyone a heads up that these storms could produce gusty winds and also some hail. Can we turn on the storm hail tracker here? And you've got the velocity on. This is kind of interesting, too.
I want to take a look at the velocity on that area, because that is kind of interesting, too.
Maybe right through here. We've kind of got, I think, 3 individual storms within the line that are managing to kind of get themselves going. And so right here, just to the east of Burnt Mills, what Jeff's looking at is the wind velocity. So this is our green going away from the radar, our green going towards the radar, our red going away from the radar. So what we're watching for here is any possible rotation. And there's a little bit there, nothing that immediately kind of jumps out as the need to issue a tornado warning on it, but certainly there's enough indications there we could see some areas of rotation we need to watch. Now Jeff's turned on the hail risk here, and as we advance this up to the north and east, what you're going to notice is these areas here towards the Guineas Church area, Burnt Mills 712, Snowden 725, the Currituck County area around 731, that's where this hail is going to be advancing to the north and east. And the storms today, they've had a history of producing some hail. We've seen reports of penny-sized hail in parts of Gloucester. We've seen reports of quarter-sized hail as you made your way across parts of the south side to Chesapeake. We had larger hail reported into parts of northeast North Carolina over the past hour or so. So respect these storms not just from the heavy rain potential and the lightning potential, but also from the risk of some of them producing some large hail. Not everyone's going to see that, of course, but where these storms do rush through your area, we could see a few isolated areas of some large hail. There's also a decent amount of lightning with this, and speaking about the hail, we showed you the hail tracker a second ago, but even with just traditional reflectivity, the stuff you're kind of used to, where red is the heavier rain, well, if you look just here, just right near Burnt Mill, that area here kind of showing up with a little bit of pink. So that's an indication that we likely have some hail mixing in with this rain as well as it makes its way through. And as Jeff kind of tunes down our color table and just points on kind of what I'm showing here, he's basically turned the sensitivity kind of down on the radar to show you just where there may be a little bit of hail. And right near Burnt Mill, that's where this is going to be right now as it kind of advances up to the north and east. So can we put a storm track on all this, Jeff, and we'll kind of advance everything off towards the east. And after that, let's jump back up that tornado warning and look at the velocity. But let's give everyone in northeast North Carolina kind of a heads up and a time of arrival for these storms. Earlier today, I had someone in Corolla reach out to me and say, hey, are we going to see storms even on the Outer Banks? Yes, you guys are going to see a risk of some storms here over the next hour or so. So as we advance everything off, it's 7:13 right now. Elizabeth City, these storms are knocking on the door. 7:14, just a minute. Falls Cape, 7:21. That's in Virginia Beach. Indiantown, 7:26. We're looking at Maple, Weeksville, around 7:28 to 7:30. Water Lily, you're getting into the area here very close to Currituck Sound. That's going to be 7:35 in the evening. Goose Creek, 7:38. The Corolla area, Southern Shores, Duck region, 7:42. In the Poplar Branch section of the northeast North Carolina region as you kind of make your way towards the Outer Banks before you get into the Wright Memorial Bridge region. That area is going to be hit between around 7:30 and 7:45. Here's that tornado warning that's in effect now.
And one thing about that, too, they're allowing that to expire for the city of Chesapeake.
Okay, great. So that's good news because that shows us that they believe the rotation has calmed down enough to where they no longer need to extend this into the city of Virginia Beach. So that tornado warning expiring here in just about a minute for the city of Chesapeake. So then we'll have no more tornado warnings in effect. All we'll have are the severe thunderstorm warnings in effect as they continue to make their way across parts of the south side. So that severe thunderstorm warning goes until 8 p.m. tonight for the city of Virginia Beach, the eastern side of the city of Chesapeake. No warnings for the northern side here of the city of Virginia Beach. You kind of just are dealing with some gusty winds, maybe up to 40 miles per hour. Also the potential of some heavy rain to those areas. But you certainly are probably noticing these storms as they make their way through. This is very close to First Landing State Park. This will be making its way quickly off into the Atlantic Ocean. But there's more behind it. Downtown Norfolk, downtown Portsmouth right now, near the Elizabeth River. All of this is advancing into Virginia Beach. And the airport, once again, going to see some heavy rain towards the new IKEA and some of the shopping centers they built out here. You'll see this heavy rain move in the next little bit. But that severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect for the southern areas where we have that warning for the Chesapeake and Virginia Beach areas. Let's zoom in, if we can, Jeff, to kind of right through this area. Let's give you kind of some communities here into parts of Virginia Beach. This is pretty much going to be almost from Oceana south. So here's Nemo, here's West Neck, here's the Lansdowne area, and there's Fentress on your bottom left side of your screen. Oceana is going to be right in through here, so this pretty much is from the Oceana area south. Does not include the oceanfront, the northern side, or kind of the 25th Street oceanfront area, but does include Sandbridge Beach as you make your way further south, and includes the Back Bay community and the Back Bay Wildlife Center there. So as Jeff puts a storm track on this and we advance it off towards the east, we still have a couple of minutes before this makes its way to the coast, at least the leading edge of this stronger storm and severe storm. So Sandbridge Beach, 7:21. Dam Neck Corner, 7:19. It's about 4 minutes for you guys. Back Bay, 7:24 before this all advances off towards the east and makes its way into the Atlantic Ocean. As we look at the velocities, once again, these have kind of calmed down a little bit, Jeff, from what we were seeing earlier.
Yeah, they have.
We were seeing, what, some 50, 60 mile per hour gusts as these were closer to the peninsula, and now we're not seeing as much.
We're not getting the values at all, so that's good news.
Yeah, so hopefully these storms have kind of calmed themselves down. Some of these areas are getting closer to the water, but there's a little area. Can we go back to velocity for a second and query that down to the south there? That's going to be the southwest side, Virginia Beach towards the Blackwater area. So you're seeing some 40, almost 45 mile per hour gusts into these areas, and that'll be advancing towards Back Bay and some of the water communities down here as you make your way in the southeast side of the city of Virginia Beach.
Yeah, so as that advances to the east, it should stay north of Corova, but we'll say if it does want to drag a little bit more to the south, that would be around 7:30 or so towards Corova. It could be moving into that area.
Yeah, and so these areas that are still under the risk for severe weather include parts of the south side, the city of Virginia Beach, the city of Chesapeake, and then a large part of northeast North Carolina. So Moyock, you're seeing the heavy rain right now. You're seeing the lightning move through your area as well. And all of this is going to be approaching Currituck. Here's the Currituck Sound. A ferry runs across here. Here's Corolla. No rain into your area yet. Here's Poplar Branch. But all of these kind of areas of wind out towards the west and areas of heavy rain will be advancing off towards the east as we go over the next about 20 to 25 minutes. It's 7:17 now as we kind of watch the storms come through. This warning goes until 8 p.m. They're racing off quickly, though, so these may manage to clear the coast before we get to 8 o'clock tonight. And let's switch back over to velocity real quick, Jeff, and maybe zoom into some of these areas we were watching before. Still no major signs that jump out to me. Let me get your opinion. Anything you're seeing?
I'm not seeing anything that's all too impressive. So I think we're going to be looking a little bit better here as we go into the night. We're going to certainly watch to see if anything wants to spin up. But right now, I'm not seeing anything that's looking as threatening. Gusty winds, sure, a possibility. Maybe some large hail into this area. We'll do another storm ETA as this thing advances to the east. But overall, across northeast North Carolina, it's not looking as strong as it did a little bit ago. It's just becoming a linear storm, which is one that will produce maybe some heavy rain, some gusty winds, and certainly warrant a severe thunderstorm warning, but we're not seeing the spin or the rotation or the tornadic threat anymore with this particular storm. So if you are in these areas in northeast North Carolina, good idea now to get into a safe room, get downstairs, get away from the windows, but I'm not seeing the tornado threat with this particular storm. For the Hampton Roads cities, we're all clear right now. Let's zoom it back out. We're all clear across the peninsula. We're all clear across the middle peninsula. What does all clear mean? It means that we're not going to get any more severe weather into those particular areas. For the south side, we have a little bit more rain that's going on right now across spots into the city of Chesapeake and also areas into the city of Virginia Beach. But I believe even for the eastern shore, too, a lot of lightning right now towards Exmoor and Melfa into the eastern shore to Accomack County. So you're seeing a lot of lightning into your area. But this storm is lifting to the north and to the east. We'll continue to watch us here on WAVY News 10. We can send it back now to regular scheduled programming on WAVY TV 10. We'll continue our coverage on Fox 43 as we continue on to watch these storms.
Now, from the station on your side, you're watching WAVY News 10 on Fox 43.
Thanks for watching tonight at 7. I'm John Dowd, and we've been tracking severe weather throughout Hampton Roads in northeast North Carolina, so we're going to kick it right over to meteorologist Ricky Matthews, who's back with us. He's been in Super Doppler 10 Weather Center all afternoon. They've been talking on air, him and Chief Meteorologist Jeff Edmondson, for the last hour tracking severe storms throughout our area. Ricky, what's it looking like going on right now?
So we are starting to calm down everything, but we still have a few warnings in effect at this hour. So what we want to do is give you a perspective as to what's happening right now and what we expect here over the next about an hour or so. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that continues now. This is going to be for the city of Virginia Beach and Chesapeake. Chesapeake, you're almost done with this. This is really more Virginia Beach's issue now as this kind of makes its way into the southern side of the city of Virginia Beach. And also this warning continues for parts of northeast North Carolina. So as we zoom in here, we kind of pinpoint some of these areas that are still under the risk for some strong to severe weather. It's going to be the areas of northeast North Carolina where we have to continue to monitor for some of these strong to severe storms to move through. The main concern with this is going to be the potential of some gusty winds as they make their way through the area. And as we kind of look at the perspective of all of this, the reflectivity kind of shows the picture pretty well because it shows where those areas of heavy rain and heavy wind are. So as I kind of turn this on, we'll pop the warnings on, and then we'll turn the reflectivity back on for you here too. What you're going to notice is that these areas under the severe thunderstorm warning continue for southeast parts of southeast Virginia into Virginia Beach and also the areas here of Elizabeth City. So let me put a storm track on this. I'm going to clear stuff off our screen here. We'll make it look a little cleaner. And then we'll put a storm track on this and advance it off towards the south and east. So this is going to be making its way towards Corolla, Goose Creek. We're talking 737 for these storms to make their way into your area. The Winslow area, 728. The Currituck area, 724. So just a few minutes for you guys before these storms make their way in. Poplar Branch, 743. And the Olds community around 750 tonight. Then these storms are going to be quickly making their way off the coast, but we do have to go a little bit further south and kind of give you a heads up for what's going to be happening in parts of Dare County as these storms make their way eventually towards Manteo. We've got the line of storms all the way back here to the west that we'll have to be monitoring because those will be making their way towards parts of mainland Dare and then eventually the Outer Banks Dare County area as we go probably closer to almost 8 to 9 o'clock tonight. I would say more almost 9 o'clock tonight for you guys as those storms continue off towards the east. So still a few warnings in effect, still a few storms that have the potential to produce some gusty winds. Let's zoom back in here as we continue our storm coverage here on Fox 43 News at 7. We'll show you some of these areas of velocity, and these are the areas where we could be seeing some strong winds. And you're going to see some negative numbers and some positive numbers here. It doesn't mean the wind's going backwards, but what it does indicate to me is that we just saw the potential for some gusty winds to come in here. Let me, go ahead, Jeff.
A new storm report that's coming out of Bertie County, Powellsville. This is a storm report, and I don't know if you can pop the storm reports on the screen so everyone can see where it is. Mobile home was blown over, multiple trees down, and the time was around 6:20 p.m. estimated by radar. So that's this particular area here that we see on the screen. This is from the strong storms that were moving through the area earlier. And at that time, we did have warnings for that particular storm as that area had that strength of the storm, that wind moved through the region. So we'll look at around 6:20 p.m. towards the spot where we had that report of that mobile home that was blown over, and what were the other things? Multiple trees down, and that was at 6:20 p.m. And that was from that storm that was advancing to the north and to the east at around 40, 50 miles an hour. So I'm not sure on what would have caused that quite yet. Could it have been a strong straight line wind or a tornado? We don't have confirmation on that yet. We'll have to wait for that. But really impressive storm damage there, Ricky.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we say, don't remain in a mobile home during strong gusty winds. They're fantastic for low-cost living. Many people have their homes as mobile homes or manufactured homes, but unfortunately, a lot of times they're not anchored to the ground as well, and they can be blown over in these strong winds as they make their way through the region. So kind of resetting everything here. Let's give you, once again, kind of a heads up. Maybe you're just tuning in now. Let me show you the areas that are no longer impacted by severe weather. That's going to be some of the areas here across Hampton into Newport News. Just a little bit of light rain falling through your area. No severe weather concerns on the peninsula. No severe weather concerns anymore for a large part of the south side. But areas of northeast North Carolina, we still got to watch for you in Pasquotank, Camden, Currituck County, the southeast side here for Quemmons County, and even the southern side of Chowan County, just to the south and east of Edenton. You still have these strong storms coming through your neck of the woods. So as we turn on the velocity, we're not seeing any huge indications for some strong gusty winds. But what these storms do sometimes is they form what's known as a microburst. And so basically, all the water, all the energy goes up in the storm. And eventually, it becomes too heavy, and it's got to fall out. So that's what happens with these microbursts. You get too much water, too much kind of moisture up in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and then they come crashing down to the ground in the form of some of these areas that we see the strong gusty winds in. that's one of the concerns we've had tonight. The other concern has been for some large hail. And as we show you the hail tracker here, what you're noticing is some indications of some large hail on the northern side here, this Curta County area, just to the east of Moyock. I got a friend who lives out in Moyock. I would love to hear from you. If you had any hail at your house, let me know. And we'll see as the storm approaches Knott's Island and the Tolls area if any more hail continues to fall into those areas. But heads up, this storm is making its way off towards the east, so we can continue to see the potential for some large hail make its way towards Knott's Island and the elementary school, Waterfowl Manor area, 737, and then we're going to continue to see this moving off towards the east. So as we get closer to 7:30, and we typically wrap up our newscast one time, I'm going to zoom this out, give you a wide picture, and tell you that we continue to monitor strong to severe storms across the area. Jeff and I are going to continue to track everything here in the Weather Center. We'll monitor things behind the scenes. And of course, as any more warnings are issued, we'll bring them to you on the bottom of your screen, the crawl. If necessary, break back into programming. And of course, as we continue to kind of see what happened from the storms today, that report in Bertie County, check back tonight during the 10, 11 o'clock newscast for any of the storm reports that we have to pass along to you. You can also send your reports to us using email, report it at wavy.com. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stay safe.